Hey y'all, it's Christian Styles back for another video, and it is Valentine's Day. Now, anybody that knows me knows that I'm not a big Valentine's Day person. I don't think that it makes any sense. I just believe that it's stupid and it's truly of the devil. And so, because I think that, I thought, what better way to celebrate Valentine's Day than releasing this video, which is the biggest and probably the last part of this whole marital divorce saga, custody battle situation. Now, it'll probably still be going on behind the scenes, but for 2026, I have just decided that I am done. I am finished putting my energy into this. I am finished going back and forth with this bitch. It's a losing battle. So this is my final fuck you. I am going to read you guys the last letter that I sent to her, which will probably be the last words I ever speak to her pertaining to this issue. And I said what I said. I'm going to leave it right where it's at. And it just is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and do you guys the honor of reading it for you guys now. And you guys can leave your comments, concerns, all of that in the comment section down below. And without further ado, let's get into it. So I said, "Dear former wife, this will be the very last time I address our marriage. This will be the very last time I address you in a loving manner. I want you to fully understand my actions and why what you have done and what you have allowed broke our marriage. I know you'd like to think that it was me that broke our marriage, but by you blaming me, that would mean that you're blaming God himself. Allow me to explain. It's no secret that I am a follower of Jesus Christ and the Christian religion and faith, and you are not. That was my first mistake, marrying a non-believer, which automatically is against God's word. The Bible advises against marrying non-believers, primarily through 2 Corinthians 6:14, which says, "Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers," meaning partners should share fundamental beliefs and purposes, like oxen pulling together. However, 1 Corinthians 7:12 through 16 offers guidance for existing marriages where one spouse converts, instructing the believer not to divorce if the unbeliever is willing to stay as the believing partner sanctifies the home and the children, though that doesn't make the unbeliever automatically saved. 1 Corinthians 7:15. This verse implies a Christian should marry only in the Lord, meaning to another believer. According to some interpretations, making a marriage to a non-believer is a violation of this principle. As a Christian, I fully disregarded this due to my infatuation with the woman I believed to have been created just for me, the love of my life, as I always thought you were. I believed we could make it through anything as long as we loved each other enough. Saying goodbye to that thinking is the first major step in moving on past this saga we're in. I will leave you to soak in this mess that you made on your own. As I am set to remarry soon, I will not allow these things to go unsaid. This is me closing our book for good. What you thought was me being controlling or dominant, which is what she often would accuse me of throughout our marriage, or this was my favorite, treating you like my child, was really me following the Lord's commandments. I was establishing my boundaries with your family, which I was supposed to do. Allow me to explain what that means exactly. A meddling mother-in-law was the death of us. Don't you think so? Well, it's true. Allow me to explain this to you. A meddling mother-in-law who is demanding, controlling, or intrudes into the lives of her son or daughter and daughter-in-law and son-in-law is what the Bible calls a busybody. 1 Timothy 5:13, the meaning of the Greek word that is translated to busybody in the first Timothy passage means a self-appointed overseer in other men's matters. Overseeing is what some mother-in-laws are engaged in, or at least accused of. This kind of behavior is not only annoying, very frustrating, and contrary to God's plan for the family. Obviously, the dynamic in such a situation are frustrating. A mother-in-law may do these things because no one else in the family has given her boundaries. Okay. Well, as you guys have heard me say numerous times, I tried to give her boundaries, and that just didn't work because it was either Akaya's way or no way. And she wanted her family to have free reign to do and say the things that they wanted to say, regardless of how rude or disrespectful they were to me, her spouse. Therefore, she becomes an overbearing bully. Perhaps she doesn't realize how intrusive or controlling she is. In this particular case, she did. To her, it may just be loving, which that's what my wife used to always tell me. She just loves me, and that's, she's being protective. She's doing what moms do. No. If that is the case, perhaps a heart-to-heart talk will clear the air. We tried that. She never wanted to talk. She never wanted to sit down and have a discussion. She never wanted to address the things that she was doing that she knew, in fact, were wrong. If she does understand what she is doing and does it on purpose, even after she was asked to stop, I've asked her numerous times to stop throughout our marriage and through even before we got married, and she never did. She always disregarded it, thinking that I had no say over my own marriage just because I'm married to your child. Well, according to the Bible and according to the Lord and according to the rules of marriage, I did. Then there is nothing that you are going to be able to do to alter that, which is ultimately true. If you ask somebody to stop and they continue to do it anyways, that means that they have no respect for you or anything that you stand for. Regardless of which side of the family the interference comes from, which it was never from my side, never once at all was it from my side. And that's the biggest, most frustrating part about all of this, that it was never my fault. It never came from my mom and dad. It never came from my siblings. It never came from anyone on my side. It was always her side of the family. So regardless of which side of the family the interference comes from, it is an assault upon the sanctity of the marriage, and it violates the leave and cleave of God's order for marriage. Genesis 2:23 through 24. A man and a woman leave their birth families and begin a new family, and they are to love and protect each other. A husband who allows his mother or his mother-in-law to interfere with his marriage is not living up to the commandment given to the husbands in Ephesians 5:25 through 33. Boundaries need to be set and then held regardless of the resistance encountered, which I did. I put up boundaries, very strict ones, that she just disregarded, and she, meaning my ex-wife, disregarded at any point in time. I felt as if I had no right to make it so that I didn't come home to them in my house after the rude and disrespectful comments that they would all say about me. And the mother would orchestrate that. So your mother talks negatively about me and you don't do anything to stop it. Even now, yes, we're divorced, but it's still inappropriate given the fact that I'm the father to her grandchild. So even so, the behavior is still going on and the behavior still hasn't stopped. And Akaya does zilch nada to interfere with that situation. In fact, she joins in now and creates more issues than what we already have, which is not conducive whatsoever. The reality is that people treat us the way that we allow them to treat us. If we permit them to trample the sanctity of our family, then that is what they will do. No one, not even our extended family, has the right to invade the privacy of our home. And it is the responsibility of the husband to guard that privacy. I tried that numerous times. Every time I said I don't want anybody here when I'm not here, I'm working all day, I don't want to come home to anybody in my house, that fell on deaf ears. Every time I turned around, there was somebody else in my house from her family eating my snacks and my hard-earned money that went to furnishing the house with food and everything that we need. They were in my house doing what they wanted to do even after I made it very clear I didn't want them anywhere near my home. My home is my sanctuary. A man's home is his castle. And they didn't have any right or respect to be where they were not invited. It doesn't matter if my wife said it was okay. The head of household said no. She should have had enough respect for her husband, and she never did. He should take the lead gently but firmly, explaining to his mother-in-law what she is doing that is over the line and assuring her that such behavior cannot be tolerated. I did that too. Y'all know I did. He should remind her that God has given him the responsibility for his family, and to replenish any of the responsibility to her is to disobey God, which is true. This is my family. This is my wife now. I am in control. He should also assure her that he and his wife still love her, but the relationship has changed and he is in charge now. That is God's design for the family, and that is the way that it'll be. And then the couple must stand firm in their resolve. We were never able to do that. I pronounced this time and time and time and time again, and maybe I wasn't exactly clear in these biblical terms. I wasn't exactly clear because why would I be? She's not a believer, so she doesn't believe in what, I believe in. She doesn't respect the Bible. She doesn't respect anything about the way that I wanted to raise our family and our household. She had absolutely no respect for any of that. So it really just put me between a rock and a hard place. And I didn't think it mattered at the time whether or not I was fully able to explain this to her in a way that she understood, because as we can see, her and her comprehension skills are at an all-time low. What can we do about reacting to a woman who acts in a way of a meddling mother-in-law? Okay, we can make a choice not to allow her to take away our peace of mind. We tried that. We may not be able to change the way others behave, but how we respond to their behavior is our choice. Absolutely. We can allow the actions of other people to get to us, or we can choose to give it to God and allow him to use this to strengthen us spiritually. It is our own response to this type of situation that fuels our frustration. Only we can stop wearing ourselves out emotionally by allowing an interfering mother-in-law's actions to be an arbiter of our own peace. Her behavior is not our responsibility. Our response is. Now, I tried to do it softly. I've tried to do it firmly. I was standing firm in the things that I said, and that just made this woman push back even harder, and that is not what she should have done. She no longer had control. Once we married, she needed to relinquish that control, and she was too busy trying to use her daughter as the cash cow because she needed her on certain leases to make sure that her bills got paid and so that she can use her children and gather rent money and all of that, because she couldn't take care of her responsibilities as a grown adult and get her family to the places where they needed to be without my wife needing to foot the bill or help foot the bill. And it felt as if she saw me as a threat to her little system, and she started attacking me from day one. So there are things that just were in place that no matter what I did, it wouldn't have made a difference. Parents and in-laws should be treated with respect and love, but we must not allow our emotions to entangle us. The best way to disengage an enemy is to make them an ally. This is done through God's grace. Christians can always give the grace of forgiveness. Ephesians 4:32. It may not stop a mother-in-law from interfering, but it will be a source of strength and peace to stand in. Ephesians 6:11 through 17, and the only place to find true peace of heart is in a personal relationship with God through Christ. Only then can we respond by resetting in his peace. Okay. Furthermore, and this is just, I felt the need to get all this off my chest. I really did. Furthermore, I have failed the Lord with my first attempt at marriage due to your immaturity and not seeing exactly what I was trying to do. I was very clear in my direction for my family, and you disobeyed that every chance you got, which in turn made being married to you impossible. You have a lot of growing up still left to do, as you are actively ruining my son's life with parental alienation. And as of now, it has been 900 days that I cannot get back from the days that she has illegally stolen from me. 900 days of my son's life that I will never be able to get back. She doesn't send pictures. She doesn't send anything that would help soften this pain. She is doing the worst of the worst, and she's doing him a disservice, and he's going to resent her in the end of all this. And like I've been saying, everything I have told her up till this point has come true. Every last thing. And when he turns 10 and 13 and wants nothing to do with her and wants to ask the court if he can exclusively live with me, which will happen, I count the days, it will happen, she's going to be shit out of luck, and she'll have nobody to blame but herself. And I cannot wait to be able to say I told you so. I pray that you find happiness in the future, though I will forever hate your spirit, soul, and everything that you stand for as a human being. I have forgiven your mistakes, but not your willful actions and ignorance. The Bible doesn't explicitly command wives to take their husband's last name, as modern surnames weren't common in biblical times. Instead, it emphasizes unity, Genesis 2:24, and mutual submission, Ephesians 5:21, leading to the diverse interpretations, with some seeing name-taking as symbolizing this one flesh union or male headship, while others view it as a cultural tradition best decided by the couple. This is another thing that hurt me deeply. By you being unable to submit and take my last name, you were in resistance to submitting to the union and the unity of our marriage from the very start. You cared not an ounce how this decision made me feel, and I still moved on and let you make that choice regardless of how much the principle meant to me. I never once questioned her. I never once pushed it. I never once made that big a deal about it. I asked her a couple of times, and she just said, I like my last name. I want to keep my last name. And as disrespectful as that was for me, And, it shattered my whole illusion of the white picket fence and, the family unit and the American dream. It shattered my whole heart. She could care less. She wanted what she wanted, and the whole thing was disrespect from the very beginning. And these are things that we could have talked out in therapy that she would often, she canceled it, behind my back and said she didn't want to do it anymore. And, a lot of these things could have been worked out and talked through, but instead, this is where we are. Let me see, where was I? Let me see, where was I? Still, you saw me as the bad guy anyways, even when I didn't push things on you that you knew meant the world to me. The lack of overall respect for me and my leadership as the head of household is unforgivable. I want to make this extraordinarily clear. This failure is absolutely your doing, 100%. I have taken accountability for my actions, being as I always say, children make mistakes and adults make choices. I do not agree with the choices that I made to express my displeasure with your disrespect to me as your husband and the father of your child and the head of household. I will not make any excuses for that behavior, but what I will say is this. This behavior came as a result of countless requests that went on to be ignored and disregarded by my wife. Cause and effect, unfortunately. You had a hand in exactly the way that things played out, and pretended as if you did not is willful ignorance. So basically what I'm saying, because I'm pretty sure that's going to create some kind of backlash, and that's okay. And I'm okay with all types of backlash you guys want to give me for that one, because I absolutely am going to stand by that 10 toes down. I'm going to stand by what I said, and I'm going to stand on business, because the fact of the matter is this. Everything that we did, whether that was emotional, verbal, physical fights, whatever took place, she made all that come about. A lot of the things were very much avoidable had she done what she was supposed to do as a woman, as a wife, as a caretaker. If she were to do those things, none of the negative would have taken place. None of it. It could have all been avoided had she just done her job as my wife. And she didn't. She finds a way to blame me for everything. So like I always say, if the sun doesn't come up tomorrow, somehow it's my fault. So my thing is, I have my role. I have my responsibility. I do what I'm supposed to do as a husband, as a head of household, working 2 jobs, Amazon and Wawa, keeping a roof over our head. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. Why couldn't you do your job while you sat at home and did nothing for years and years? While I am providing for you and helping put you through school. I am a valuable part of making you successful. So maybe you should say thank you to me. Our son was the best thing to come out of such a tragedy of a marital union. However, he is now the product of uncleanliness in the eyes of the Lord due to our mistakes, mostly the actions of his own mother. I've watched a dog give birth, and that doesn't make it a mother. You are far from what a mother is and should be, and I do not blame you. I do not blame you. And I wanted to stress that point. I feel you've had a terrible example. So I don't blame her for what she did not know, because she had the worst type of leadership to look up to. You had the worst kind of example to go off of, to base your motherhood off of. I mean, the worst kind of you could have had, at the absolute worst. Say what you want about my three mothers: adoptive, birth mother, foster mother. Say all you want about each one of them, but each one of them retains a quality that Renee could only dream of mastering, even in their flaws. So basically what I'm saying is, my mothers are not perfect, not at all, but they would make mincemeat out of Renee Jenkins. All three of them, because I have learned such significance about life in general because of those three women. And that is why I am an unstoppable force today, is because of those three women. As I get ready to tie the knot to a real woman that will take my last name and live up to what it means to be a submissive spouse to a great man, this is my closure to our story that will never have a part two. This is the part where I would normally say, I will always love you as the mother of my child and the love of my life. But instead, the feeling is the total opposite. I will always hate you as the failure of a wife and a mother that you were, are, and will continue to be. I pray you grow up and see the error of your ways. I will be forced to co-parent with you for the sake of my son that I love way more than you. Let me be clear. Let me be clear, as Kamala Harris would say. That is all we will ever be from this day forward. I hate you. Hate. Loathe. I hate you. Until you take your last breath, I will always put my differences with you aside for the sake of my son's life. CJ did not ask to be here, and I understand being the bigger person sometimes is the hardest option, and I am willing to do that for him. So there's nothing I won't do for my son. Sincerely, Christian Marcel Stiles, the father of Christian Jr. Stiles. So the reason why I felt as if I had to do that is painstakingly obvious. I want to just make it clear that you can continue this game against me and wage this war against me. I am finished. I am throwing in the towel. I am done dealing with this. I am over this. I'm going to fight everything in court silently. There's not going to be any more post about it. My 2026 is not going to be consumed by this idiot. I am just over it. I am done. I will not allow her to steal another year from me. I just won't. It's not worth it to me. So this is what I will say. And as you can see, all the photos and the pictures and the videos and everything that has gone on and everything that I have done and the court hearings and the documents that are flashing up on the screen and the pictures of the family unit and the trips to the courthouse and everything, this will end off the parental alienation playlist. I will still be documenting, of course. And I will be using that, what I end up documenting. But as far as posting it, I don't think I'm going to be going there anymore. I just don't want my whole page to be consumed with things about Akaya that just do not meet my specifications anymore. Like, it's not worth it to me. It really just isn't worth it to me. In the beginning, I was so gung-ho about gathering evidence and as much evidence as I possibly could and making sure that this is exactly as it should be. And I still stand by that 100%. But the difference now is, with me having somebody else in my life, I don't want to run them off because of things of my past. She doesn't deserve that. I don't think that that would be wise of me to do that to her. And I wouldn't want to do that to her. That just wouldn't be fair. And so I have to make the conscious decision that, yes, all of this stuff did happen. All of these text messages were exchanged. And it'll continue to happen because she's a small and condescending person. She is a small-minded human being. This is going to continue to happen. Nothing is going to stop it from happening. All the dreams about us having a second child and all of that, I am willing to put that aside and throw that all away for my peace, my dignity, my happiness, my security. I'm done. I'm over it. And I think people ought to take a page out of my book and really understand that. Speaking of my book is my main focus. As you can see, it's now flashing up on the screen. My book is where I am at, where my head is at. And that book will be available for you guys this year, so you guys can purchase and read all about this stuff. And with there being a book, I feel as if it really is time to close this chapter, as well as the musical album that's going along with it. As you can see, that's flashing up on the screen, the country music album. I have big dreams to continue my salon work and really make my dreams the biggest that they could possibly be, and continue to release singles like Outdated. Outdated is one of the best songs I think I've ever written. With You I Am is another single off that album. And all of the dreams that I've had for so long, that I feel the 7 years that she stole from me, which were the 7 worst years of my life, it's time for me to get back to being who I am. I have lost who I am in all of this. And there is something to be said about that. And the headshots for the book just turned out absolutely phenomenal, guys. Phenomenal, as you can see them flashing up on the screen now. And I have been doing so much book promotional stuff, and all of this is possible because she's withholding my child. And I know that that sounds odd, but if I wouldn't be making these grand purchases and doing all of this stuff that I'm doing if I had the responsibility of my son still. And so with that being said, I just have to make this crystal clear that I do understand everything that is happening here and what is most important and what I need to do to get back to being who I am. I have had a lot of loss from the death of my dog, Milton, as you can see. Georgia is still with me, thank God, as you can see her up on the screen now. And Milton one more time because it just, I miss him. There are just things that this issue has stopped and taken from me. I file taxes for my son every single year because I do believe that I deserve that. If you're going to withhold him for all this time, then I deserve all the money. And the trips that I'm taking, all of the things that I'm doing to go see my girl and traveling here, there, and everywhere, like we're doing all these special things. And all of this is possible because of what she's doing. She's taking on 100% of a responsibility of a child that you made 50-50 with someone else. How stupid can one be to take on the entire responsibility of a child and think that you'll be successful in doing so when you've already failed at every turn? In any case, my son is my main concern, and I'm keeping it to that. All of these court dates, as you can see, we got court dates coming up. We have a lot of things that are happening, and I have to be present, and I have to be mentally and emotionally and physically prepared for my son, for him. I have to be the best man, dad, father I can be for him. I have to be mentally and emotionally strong. And that's basically where I'm at, guys. This wasn't easy. Wasn't in it. This is the hardest experience of my life. But for my son, there isn't anything I wouldn't do. And I am at that point where I can honestly say that it is him who makes me wake up every single day and trudge through this and trudge through homelessness and trudge through all of this stuff that she has placed upon my life that wouldn't have been a thing if I hadn't have met her. She tore my life apart, ruined it completely, gave me a criminal record I wouldn't otherwise have. All of these things. I bought my best friend a car. I'm doing all of these things that I should have done years ago and should have been more focused on a long time ago. And now I have the opportunity to do nice things for myself, to do nice things for other people, and to make sure that I have something for my son for when he does, in fact, come back around. Daddy got himself a new car. All types of things that I have been preparing. And I just want you guys to know that I appreciate everything that you guys have done. You guys have been with me for the long haul, and I appreciate every last thing you guys have done and said and been there. I appreciate you guys from here to the moon and back. I am done, though. I want to leave this right where it's at. I will not end off the year. I've said goodbye to the Escalade. I said goodbye to the Suburban. I've said goodbye to a lot of things that really meant something to me but had very negative memories. And with that, I replaced it with my new supercharged Mercedes. And, I am really having a time, guys, and I can't wait to bring you all with me. Stay perfectly imperfect, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.